You see, the first thing you must understand about progress is this. It is a decision, not a feeling. Most people are waiting to feel inspired, waiting to feel confident, waiting to feel ready. But progress does not wait for your mood to improve. It responds to your decision to move. There are mornings you will wake up energized, focused, ready to conquer the world. But there will also be mornings when the alarm feels heavier than your dreams. And on those mornings, the difference between the person who grows and the person who stays stuck is very simple, one decided in advance. You must decide that progress is no longer optional. When you make progress optional, it becomes occasional. When you make it mandatory, it becomes daily. Now here is something powerful to think about. Feelings are unreliable. They change with the weather, they change with the news, they change with one bad conversation. If your progress depends on how you feel, your future will be unstable. But a true decision, creates structure. When you decide you are going to improve every day, something shifts internally. You stop negotiating with yourself. You stop saying, maybe tomorrow. You stop saying, I'll start when things calm down. You understand that things rarely calm down. Life does not suddenly clear a perfect path for you. You must build the path while walking it. That is why discipline matters more than motivation. Motivation is wonderful. It feels good. It gives you a surge of energy, but discipline is steady. Discipline is quiet. Discipline shows up whether the applause is there or not, and progress belongs to the disciplined. Let me give you a simple example. If you decide you will read 10 pages every day, it doesn't matter if you are tired. It doesn't matter if you are busy. It doesn't matter if the day was chaotic. The decision was already made. You don't wake up and ask, do I feel like reading? You say, it's part of who I am now. And that is another key: identity. When progress becomes part of your identity, everything changes. Instead of trying to achieve, you start to become. You are no longer someone who hopes to improve. You are someone who improves daily. You see, success is not something you pursue. It is something you attract by the person you become. And you become that person through daily decisions. Every day you are casting votes. Every action is a vote for the type of person you will become. Skip the workout, that's a vote. Do the workout, that's a vote. Waste the hour, that's a vote. Invest the hour, that's a vote. One vote won't define you, but repeated votes create identity. Identity creates habits. Habits create results. So progress begins when you stop leaving your life up to emotion and start leading it with intention. And let me tell you something else. The world will test your decision. There will be distractions. There will be setbacks. There will be days when nothing seems to go your way. That is not the time to reconsider your commitment. That is the time to reinforce it, because progress is not about perfect days. It is about productive responses. You will not always control circumstances, but you can always control effort. You can always control attitude. You can always control the next small action. If you lose a deal, make one call. If you miss a goal, adjust the plan. If you feel discouraged, take one constructive step anyway. The decision says, no matter what happens, I move forward. That is power. When you live that way, you stop being fragile. You stop being easily thrown off course. You become steady. And steady people eventually win. You don't need to make giant progress today. You just need to make deliberate progress. A single step in the right direction counts. A single improvement matters, but it must be intentional. And here's something most people overlook. When you decide in advance, you reduce stress. Why? Because you remove constant internal debate. There is no daily argument about whether you should work on your goal. The answer was settled. Decision eliminates drama. Now you can focus your energy on execution instead of hesitation. Imagine living 1 year like that. No emotional bargaining, no constant restarting, just daily commitment, even if the steps are small. Even if the results are slow, even if no one notices, you would look back and hardly recognize yourself. And that is how progress compounds, not through occasional bursts of enthusiasm, but through steady, decided action. So if you want to make progress every day, no matter what, begin here. Don't wait for clarity. Don't wait for courage. Don't wait for the perfect moment. Decide. Decide that growth is who you are. Decide that improvement is your standard. Decide that excuses are no longer part of your language, because once the decision is made, the rest becomes management. And when progress becomes non-negotiable, your future becomes inevitable. Now, once you've made the decision to progress every day, the next lesson is one most people underestimate. It's the quiet power of small improvements. We live in a culture that celebrates big wins, overnight success, massive breakthroughs, dramatic transformations, but what you rarely see celebrated is the ordinary Tuesday where someone chose to get a little better. And yet, those ordinary Tuesdays are where extraordinary lives are built. Small daily improvements may look insignificant in the moment. In fact, they often feel almost too small to matter. Reading a few pages, practicing a skill for 20 minutes, saving a small amount of money, making one disciplined choice with your health. None of it looks impressive on social media. None of it earns applause, but time is the multiplier. If you improve just a little each day, that improvement compounds. And compounding is powerful. You don't see it at first. The first week looks the same. The first month may not look dramatically different. But stay with it for a year, stay with it for 5 years. That's when people start asking, how did you get so far ahead? You didn't leap ahead. You inched ahead consistently. Let's say you decide to improve your communication skills. You read 10 pages a day. That's 650 pages in a year. That's dozens of books. That's new ideas, refined thinking, sharpened awareness. But it didn't happen in one intense weekend. It happened page by page. Or imagine you improve your health by choosing better meals most of the time and walking 30 minutes a day. One walk does not transform your body. One healthy meal does not reshape your future. But repeat those decisions hundreds of times, and your entire physiology begins to change. Small actions repeated create massive outcomes. The challenge is that small actions don't feel dramatic. And because they don't feel dramatic, people abandon them. They say, this isn't working fast enough. But growth is not always visible while it's happening. Just because you don't see immediate results does not mean progress isn't taking place. Think of a tree. For a long time, growth happens beneath the surface, roots are forming, strength is developing, stability is being built. Then one day, the tree rises strong and visible, but the visible growth was supported by invisible consistency. Your habits are those roots. Every small improvement strengthens your foundation. Every disciplined repetition reinforces your identity. And identity, over time, produces outcomes that seem extraordinary to others, but were ordinary to you. Here's something else to consider. Small improvements reduce overwhelm. When you focus on giant goals, you can feel intimidated. I want to write a book. I want to build a business. I want financial freedom. Those are worthy ambitions. But if you only focus on the size of the goal, you may freeze. Instead, shrink the action. Write 1 page. Make 1 sales call. Save 1 percentage point more. Learn 1 new concept. Suddenly, the mountain becomes manageable. And when you manage the day, you manage the decade. You see, progress is less about intensity and more about consistency. Intensity comes and goes. Consistency stays. There will be days when you feel capable of doing 10 times the work. That's fine. Do more when you can, but never let a high energy day become the standard that discourages you on a normal day. The standard is simple: improve, improve your thinking, improve your skills, improve your attitude. Improve your discipline. Even 1% better each day changes everything. 1% doesn't look like much, but compounded daily, it transforms your trajectory. Small advantages accumulate, small disciplines stack. Small choices compound, and here is the beautiful part: small improvements build confidence. When you keep promises to yourself, even small ones, you start trusting yourself more. When you trust yourself more, you aim higher. When you aim higher, you stretch. When you stretch, you grow. It begins with something so simple, it almost feels trivial, but trivial actions done repeatedly become powerful. Most people overestimate what they can do in a week and underestimate what they can do in 5 years. They try to sprint through life, they exhaust themselves, then they stop completely. The wiser approach is steady progress. Measured steps, daily refinement. Don't look for quantum leaps, look for quiet upgrades. Upgrade your morning routine. Upgrade your focus, upgrade your standards, upgrade your circle. None of it has to happen overnight, but it must happen consistently, because time does not pause. It will pass whether you improve or not. The only question is whether you will let time work for you or against you. If you drift for a year, you will see the cost. If you improve for a year, you will see the reward. Both are subtle at first, both become dramatic eventually. So remove the pressure to be spectacular. Replace it with the commitment to be consistent. Progress every day does not mean perfection every day. It means movement, it means intention, it means refusing to stay the same. And if you do that long enough, if you honor the small disciplines long enough, one day you will wake up and realize you are no longer chasing growth. You have become it. Small steps taken daily lead to remarkable destinations. Once you've made the decision to progress, and once you've committed to small daily improvements, the next truth becomes unavoidable. You must guard your time like your future depends on it. Because it does. Time is the great equalizer. Every person in this room gets 24 hours a day. The wealthy do not receive more. The educated do not receive extra. The talented are not given a bonus supply. We all wake up with the same daily deposit. The difference is not in the amount. The difference is in the allocation. If you want to understand someone's future, don't listen to their goals. Look at their calendar. Look at how they spend their hours. Time is the raw material of progress, and if you waste the raw material, you delay the result. Here is something simple but powerful. You cannot improve your life without first improving your schedule. Many people say they don't have time, but what they often mean is they haven't decided what matters most. Because when something truly matters, you make room for it. You don't wait for free time. You create focused time. If your health matters, you schedule it. If your growth matters, you schedule it. If your business matters, you schedule it. Unscheduled priorities become neglected priorities. You see, distractions are everywhere. We live in a world designed to capture attention. Notifications, messages, endless scrolling, opinions from every direction. If you do not guard your time intentionally, it will be claimed unintentionally. And the tragedy is this: most people give their best hours to things that produce the smallest returns. They give their sharpest thinking to reacting. They give their prime energy to entertainment. They give their focus to other people's agendas. But progress requires that you reverse that pattern. Give your best hours to your best opportunities. If you are most alert in the morning, protect that time. Don't spend it casually. Use it deliberately. Work on the project that moves your life forward. Strengthen the skill that increases your value. Build something that compounds. Then let the less important tasks fill the remaining space. Here is a principle to remember: control your day, or your day will control you. It doesn't mean you won't face interruptions. It doesn't mean life won't surprise you. It means you return to intention as quickly as possible. It means you don't let one distraction turn into a wasted afternoon. Guarding your time is also about saying no. No to unnecessary meetings, no to conversations that drain, no to habits that steal hours. Every yes is expensive. It costs time, and since time is limited, each yes must be weighed carefully. Sometimes progress is not about adding more. It's about eliminating what slows you down. Remove one habit that wastes 30 minutes a day, and you reclaim over 180 hours a year. Imagine investing those hours into learning, planning, building, strengthening relationships, or improving your health. That is how small shifts in time create large shifts in outcome. You don't need more hours, you need more intentional hours. Now, let's talk about something important: rest. Guarding your time does not mean working endlessly. It means working wisely. Rest is not the enemy of progress. Unmanaged time is. Proper rest restores focus. Focus improves productivity. Productivity accelerates progress. So the goal is not busyness. The goal is effectiveness. Busy people can still drift. Effective people move. Ask yourself each day, what are the 2 or 3 actions that, if completed, would make this day meaningful? Then guard the time to complete them. Protect it as if it were an appointment with your future, because it is. If you let minor tasks dominate your schedule, major goals will remain dreams. There is also another truth about time. It compounds just like habits do. An hour invested daily in learning becomes expertise. An hour invested daily in planning becomes clarity. An hour invested daily in discipline becomes momentum, but an hour wasted daily becomes regret. The clock does not pause while you hesitate. It does not slow down while you procrastinate. It moves steadily forward, and whether you are building or drifting, it keeps moving. That is why awareness is powerful. At the end of the day, reflect. Where did your time go? Did it align with your goals? Did it support your growth? Or did it leak into activities that left you unchanged? Time leaks are subtle. 5 minutes here, 10 minutes there, but leaks unattended sink ships. When you guard your time, you send a message to yourself that your future matters. You demonstrate that your goals are not casual wishes but serious commitments, and something remarkable happens when you respect your time. Others begin to respect it too. You become more focused, more decisive, more purposeful, and purpose attracts opportunity. So as you move forward, remember this: you cannot control the length of your life, but you can control the depth of your days. If you consistently invest your hours into growth, skill, relationships, and meaningful work, your progress becomes inevitable. Time is not just passing, it is building, or it is eroding. The choice is yours. Guard your hours, and your years will take care of themselves. Now, after you've made the decision to progress, after you've committed to small daily improvements, and after you've learned to guard your time, there is one more discipline that ties it all together, and that is the discipline of measuring, reflecting, and adjusting, because progress without reflection can easily turn into repetition. You can work hard every day and still stay in the same place if you never pause long enough to evaluate. Activity alone does not guarantee advancement. Motion does not always mean movement forward. Sometimes it simply means you are busy. That's why awareness is powerful. At the end of each day, you must become your own teacher. Ask yourself simple but honest questions. What did I do well today? Where did I drift? What distracted me? What strengthened me? What moved me closer to my goals? This is not about criticism. It is about correction. You see, the most successful people are not perfect people. They are adjusting people. They make mistakes, but they do not repeat them endlessly. They notice, they refine, they improve. Reflection turns experience into wisdom. Without reflection, experience can become wasted time. But when you analyze your actions, your conversations, your decisions, you begin to see patterns. You notice where you are strong. You notice where you are inconsistent, and once you see clearly, you can change intentionally. Imagine driving across the country without ever checking your direction. You might be moving fast, you might feel productive, but if you are off course by just a few degrees, over time, you will end up miles away from your intended destination. Life works the same way. Small daily errors, left uncorrected, compound just like small daily improvements do. That is why the habit of adjustment is so critical. You don't wait for a crisis to evaluate your life. You do it daily, calmly, strategically. It can be as simple as 5 minutes before you go to bed. Sit quietly, review the day, celebrate what went right, identify what needs improvement, decide what tomorrow will look like. When you do this consistently, something powerful happens. You begin living on purpose instead of by accident. Most people repeat their days without thinking. They wake up, react, rush, distract themselves, and sleep. Then they repeat the same pattern tomorrow. Weeks pass, months pass, years pass, and they wonder why nothing changes. Change begins with awareness. If you lost your patience today, acknowledge it. Ask why. If you wasted an hour, ask how you can protect that time tomorrow. If you avoided a difficult task, ask what fear was behind it. You are not judging yourself, you are studying yourself. And the more you understand yourself, the more control you gain. Another important part of reflection is measurement. What gets measured improves. If you are building a business, track the numbers. If you are improving your health, track your habits. If you are growing your skills, track your practice time. Measurement removes guesswork. Instead of saying, I feel like I'm trying, you can say, I know I improved. Instead of saying, I think I'm busy, you can say, I completed what mattered. Clarity builds confidence. When you see evidence of progress, even small evidence, it reinforces your commitment. And when you see evidence of weakness, it gives you direction. Both are valuable. Now, let's talk about adjustment. Adjustment requires humility. It requires the willingness to admit that something is not working. But that willingness is strength, not weakness. It means you are committed to growth more than to ego. If a strategy fails, change the strategy, not the goal. If a routine becomes ineffective, refine it. If a distraction keeps appearing, design a barrier against it. Progress is not a straight line, it is a series of refinements. You try, you observe, you adjust, you try again. Over time, these adjustments make you sharper, more disciplined, more intentional, and slowly, almost quietly, you become someone who cannot easily drift off course. There is also power in looking back occasionally over a longer period. At the end of a week, review the week. At the end of a month, review the month. Ask yourself, am I becoming the person I intended to become? And not just achieving tasks, but developing character. Because ultimately, progress is not just about results. It is about transformation. Are you more patient than you were last year? More disciplined, more focused, more resilient? These qualities matter. They shape your future in ways numbers alone cannot. And when you combine decision, small daily improvement, guarded time, and constant reflection, something extraordinary happens. You stop depending on luck. You stop drifting with circumstance. You start designing your life deliberately. You begin to feel steady, not because life is perfect, but because you are attentive. You don't need dramatic overhauls. You need daily awareness. Small corrections prevent major regrets. And if you practice this long enough, you will find that setbacks no longer discourage you the way they once did. Why? Because you know you will analyze them, you will learn from them, you will adjust. Nothing is wasted. That is how progress becomes sustainable. At the end of the day, you are both the architect and the inspector of your life. Build carefully, inspect regularly, refine consistently, and when you make reflection a daily habit, you don't just live your days, you improve them.